Hello, this is Mr. Sam. Today I'm gonna talk about rights, human rights, animal rights, and etc. Where does human right come from? Why does people just kind of believe that all human have? This cat here was trolling me. Get the hell away from here. Okay, where am I at? Like, human right as a whole was like quite a theological belief, right? Basically, this guy wants. All right, it was a theological belief. It is assuming that God exists, and then we say that okay, so human right, because God created human in His image, so therefore all human has a certain right because God created him that way. And I think that's quite the reason why people start to question that more and more in the recent days, because there's just more and more atheists in the modern society. So you can see there's vegan people, they come around, the vegetarians, right? So basically they say, oh, what exactly are we basing our right on as human? Why are we superior ethically above animals? So the idea was like, okay, since we don't believe in God, so the God doesn't exist. Since God doesn't exist, then there's no reason to have only human rights but not animal rights, since we are all sentient beings. And so on a logical sense, if we can't use the almighty creator as our defense for having a superior ethical rights, oh, I think some of the like normal people in the society would argue that like the animals are not intelligent enough to have equal human rights as human. So if an animal that is very complex and have all sorts of emotions, then we should probably treat this animal better. Like for example, cat. This guy was pregnant. Okay. Show them your belly. Very fat or pregnant. I'm pretty sure it is pregnant because it's skinny everywhere else. And or dogs and monkeys, chimps, right? All this kind of animals. So we kind of treat them with more rights because they are smarter than insects and the other stupid animals. And but that doesn't really make all the logical sense too. If we're giving rights to an animal that, like, the more smart you are, we give more rights to you than like cows and some types of fish and different kinds of animals that we treat to eat. I mean, chicken is pretty stupid, but the cows and lambs are actually not too dumb, right? So shouldn't we stop eating them too? And even if they are dumb, they are like, they can feel, they can feel the pain when we are attempting to kill them. And even if they don't feel the pain, they still want to survive. So it doesn't really make sense to say, okay, I will kill this animal in a painless way so that I respect its right. So it has the right to avoid feeling pain, but we're still gonna kill you anyway because you're delicious. And the same way they're treating the dogs and cats that are like not like the stray dogs and cats. So if no one adopts them, then they're just gonna kill it with medicine, so it's not gonna feel any pain, but it's gonna die. So humans' benefit is above animal rights, and human rights are above human benefits. Like in the perfect world, in the ethical sense. So whenever someone puts his own benefits above human right, people will say, oh, this is incredibly disgusting. And if someone puts their benefits above animal rights, that is acceptable. And if someone does that not for a needed benefit, so like human need to eat meat, that's a need, right? That's a need, not want. So since human need to eat meat to thrive, like you can argue that, okay, we can have a society that does not eat meat at all, but that's just not gonna, yeah, sure, you can do that, but you have to spend so much money into this, so much resources into this, and it's gonna put your country in a competitive disadvantage. So I would say that eating meat is not a want, it's a need, it's an essential for like a society. So therefore, this kind of benefit is above animal rights. But if someone is mistreating an animal only out of the want part of his lust, like if this guy just wants to torture an animal, or this guy wants to like fuck an animal or anything like that, uh, that is gonna be seen as very unethical, because this guy is not doing it out of any needs, but this guy is doing it because he wants to do it. And so I think we have a certain degree of animal rights, but just not as much as human. And I do think the way that we value rights was just way too complex. I would say only reason why humans have human rights is because we are the apex predator in the environment. We're just stronger than all of the animals, so therefore we are superior, and therefore we have human rights, because we're stronger than all of the animals combined. And the reason why we can treat the animals however as we wanted is simply because it's beneficial for us, and it's good for our society. And yeah, but that doesn't really explain why we shouldn't torture animal, right? So if we say, okay, human is superior because we're stronger in every way and we can just destroy animals, then why would we like think that someone who loves to torture animal is very unethical? Because we have empathy towards animals, right? Like, I mean, even if you're not a vegan, you still like your pet dog and pet cat. You wouldn't want someone to come around and eat it, or like play around with it, torture it, or anything, right? And I think the reason why we don't want anyone to torture animal is not because they have some innate right within them that they should not be tortured and they should be treated right. Even if we have to eat them, we have to do it in a painless way. I don't think that's necessarily what happened here. I think what happened is simply that human, like, we don't want to see animals being tortured. Since some of the human does not want to see animal being tortured, so we should prohibit this kind of behavior because it is bad for the society and essentially bad for human. So the reason is still looping around human is not about is never about animals, it's always about human. Like if you see someone torture animal, it might mean that this guy might be a psychopath and he might be a danger to the society, so we want to eliminate those kind of behaviors, because essentially it might be harmful to human. And if those effects does not exist, I think we would not morally object those kind of behaviors all that much anyways. I think the reason why torture animal is disgusting and we hate it morally is because it is projecting this kind. Whenever we see someone do this, we are projecting this kind of behavior towards human. I think this makes more sense than say, okay, because because animal feels pain, so we should give them some degree of right. Because if you want to say, yeah, those animals feel pain, so we should give you another. This guy is finally stopped moving. He's chilling now. So animals feel pain, so we should not torture them, but we are allowed to kill them. They have right, but not all the. Oh no, I woke him up. Now he's around again. We should not kill them. No, we should not torture them, but we are allowed to kill them because we want to eat the meat. That just make no sense at all, right? If you say it has right, it should have all the rights or none of the rights, not somewhere in between. So I would say that a easier way to explain this is simply by saying it is all looped around human. Animal does not have rights at all whatsoever. The only reason that we give animals some sort of rights is because human does not want to see some certain behavior, because it might project to other human and it might cause discomfort to some of the human. So I do believe if we have enough vegans here and there, right? Like now vegans are such a minority that we just don't give a fuck about them. But if there is just too many vegans, yeah, the situation of animal might change and they might have a higher degree of rights. But I do not necessarily believe that is the correct thing to do for the society, and I do not necessarily believe that can be true. All right. Actually, today I wanted to talk about rights of AI, like artificial intelligence, because it can also be a very smart, good topic to talk on. If we are saying the reason why, if we are classifying the rights by intelligence, so human has the highest intelligence, so we have the highest rights, and animals have some degree of intelligence, so we give them a lower rights. It does explain the situation, but when you put artificial intelligence into the equation, it just doesn't cancel out. So are we gonna give AI more right than us because it's smarter than us? It just doesn't make sense, no? All right, but it's very, very late in the night. I better go to sleep right now. Goodbye.